what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Visual Effects Artist React. Today we're looking at Fallout, we're looking at some really cool effects from that, and also the original Godzilla movie is pretty sweet.
No way! Over here.
No way, dude!
Yes!
There's no way!
Yes!
The mission of the vaults should be important to everyone.
For those of you who haven't finished watching the show, this is only minorly spoilery. It's like a few images from later in the show, but it doesn't give away any sort of story details or anything like that, so you can rest easy knowing that it won't be that big of a deal.
That's smoke, Janie. It's just a fire.
The whole Fallout series basically starts with nuclear fallout, and then all these people go underground into shelters, but not everyone.
So at least the shockwave didn't hit at the same time as the flash.
I love this shot.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like a very simplified version of a nuke. It's like they just wanted to do some really cool like fireball clouds. So we're in a really unique situation here on the couch where we happen to be sitting with somebody who has explicitly studied the size of nukes in CG in downtown Los Angeles.
That's true, yeah, that's true.
So based on that, are these accurate scale-wise? Are these how big nukes would actually look if they're going off in LA?
Scale-wise, that's roughly correct. These are on the lower end, kiloton-wise. They're definitely larger than the sort of like Hiroshima-era bombs. The thing that bothers me is that the flash goes off and the mushroom cloud is already basically like fully formed.
Same with the base of the smoke around. It's like there, but it's also rolling very slow. But it just appears behind the flash.
Now, I have a feeling this is actually probably a creative choice because they needed to get through this sequence relatively quickly, and they have many different nukes going off. And if it was actually to play out at the proper speed of a nuke, it would take too long. So they're like, all right, let's just kind of like jump cut into like the coolest looking part of the nuke.
If you look at the first nuke going off, it's way slower to expand from the flash versus all the other ones. So it's definitely a storytelling device. They're just trying to expedite the process, which doesn't bother me too much, like unless I'm being, picky about it being accurate to how nukes actually work.
Yeah, I do like the city destruction within downtown itself, where you can actually see the destruction of the windows breaking and pieces of the building falling apart.
It's a very artistically approached sequence. Like, I think it's also combined with like what you can do well as an artist too. Like to do a fully accurate nuke representation, it's very taxing from a artistry point of view. Let's just let it be a little bit cartoony. Let's just let it be artistic.
Yeah, and it looks great. Like, quality's really nice, so mission accomplished.
And when you turn the little handle up top, it all goes away.
There's one character in this show that rings like Uncanny Valley alarm bells because it's unnatural.
I'm actually from a vault.
Whoa, what the heck? This is the cartoony vibe I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's really weird looking.
It's bizarre, right? But that's kind of the point. It's supposed to kind of like make you feel uneasy because it's not just that he's missing an eye, it's an unnatural eye. He's like some sort of freak creature here.
They can't be just taking an eye from one side because our eyes aren't symmetrical. So either they're like taking the halves from like one eye, then mirroring the half over, then comping that in the center, or it's like a full CG eye.
CGI.
CGI, wow.
It is a CGI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would have to be, wouldn't it? But I'm sure they had like quite a bit of prosthetic work.
No, actually. So that is a thing in the show, but for this specifically, they just gave him some tracking dots on his face and...
Totally gave him new eyebrows. That's fantastic.
They also replaced most of his forehead as well. Probably what's happening is that it's a full face replacement, but in compositing, they're only using this part.
It's so interesting that they have a fake eye on his forehead when there are two real eyes as reference right there.
This speaks to me that there are some creative changes later down the line. When they were filming this, they just wanted to provide the visual effects artists with as much like information and data as they could, and they knew they were going to be replacing all this anyway, so they probably just went ahead and put that there thinking that'd be useful, but I think in the end, it probably wasn't that useful.
I would say the skin shading though is very good. Like it matches very close to where, again, I thought it was prosthetics without question.
From a technical point of view, this is a perfect shot. So it is photoreal, animated perfectly.
Yeah, this very much leans into like the campy, cartoony vibe of the show, which I really, really like.
Yeah, and this show definitely goes there. But there is one character that is incredibly serious, and I think he's my favorite character in the entire show. And the ghoul is interesting because they're essentially immortal, They heal really quickly and effectively, but they're also like irradiated and like their skin's falling apart. They constantly look burned. And the big one about this character is that he's missing his nose.
Yes.
The missing nose, the holy grail of makeup effects. How do you erase something that you can't just like do negative makeup on?
Yeah, so anytime his head turns, you're gonna get that obscured. Everything behind it is gonna be obscured and you gotta paint that back in somehow.
That's actually like kind of a surprising challenge because if you're turned just a little bit, that nose is blocking all of this part of my cheek underneath my eye here. They did extensive prosthetic makeup around his entire head. So from like the neck all the way up over his head, that is all makeup.
Wow.
And they left a little bit of a crater for his nose there. The idea is that they prosthetically added the ridge of the nose.
If you were gonna keep that prosthetic lip that leads into the nose, it's nice for catching light, I guess. But I'm imagining they just replaced it all digitally anyway, like that portion.
I'm glad you caught on to that because that's exactly what happened. There are no visual effects breakdown that have been released yet about this, but a company called FutureWorks based in India did all of the ghoul effects, and it was a big challenge because there were over 500 shots where they had to replace his nose. They end up replacing most of this stuff around the nose entirely.
Tale as old as time right there. That's a tale as old as time.
They actually probably had a CG version of his eyes and the cheekbones, pretty much most of his face. And then through compositing, they're blending the rest of that render back into his real face.
Hey, Wasteland Jordan here. I've been scavenging these Wastelands for years. And out of everything that I found, these new updated Raycon earbuds have been proven to be the most useful. They're like Pit Boys for your ears. Thank goodness Raycon is sponsoring this video. While I'm out scavenging, I thought I'd tell you about all their cool new features. I have all the time in the world now. Raycon's new case has a quick charging function. 10 minutes of charging gives you 90 minutes of battery life. Now while I'm out scavenging, I never have to worry about it. Also, this scrap metal would do great at my bass. Speaking of bass, Raycons have like some of the best bass for earbuds with 3 different sound profiles. See, Raycons have a brand new ergonomic design. Whether you're a ghoul with shriveled up little ear holes or a mutant with big old irradiated lobes, they have a custom fit just for you. Raycons have new upgraded active noise cancellation. So when I get back to my vault, I can sleep in silence. I don't know about you, but have you ever heard of a death claw eating a band of raiders? It can last all night. Ooh, brand new 10 mil. Can't hear a thing. Ooh, don't mind if I do. And that's just all the new stuff. Raycons still have all the same quality features that you've come to know and love. Well guys, this is me. I gotta get some shut-eye before the storm rolls in. But if you wanna be like me and have Raycon maximize your life, head over to buyraycon.com/quartercrew to get 15% off your purchase. And free shipping and 30-day guarantee. Or just click the link in the description below. I gotta get going. Go! Get back to React! Go!
Bird of birds.
It looks really weird.
Yeah, it does look weird.
Aerodynamically speaking, this vehicle cannot possibly fly this way, but it's okay, it's Fallout.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the sort of like background replacements that they're having to do here. Moving camera, you got to track all that to add in the CG background.
This feels like a volume scenario.
I was gonna say, this would beg to be on a volume.
Yeah.
Well, so much for that setup. You guys nailed it.
Yeah, anytime I see interior vehicle metal with background, I'm like, it's gotta be volume now. It's gotta be.
Yeah, they actually built their own volume stage in New York specifically to do a bunch of these shots. Now, they needed to be able to like get through all of these scenes relatively quickly without having to do all the visual effects. So pretty much everything you're seeing from inside of those vehicles is in camera. Now, the question is, what is the background? Did they use Unreal Engine that's become famous for doing all these background shots? They look pretty good.
Yeah, is it just like Insta360 camera from a drone?
Oh, that's a cool idea.
It is real footage.
Oh, it is?
They
Okay.
they used actual like cinema cameras and they filmed plates from like 3 different angles. So kind of getting a panoramic view as helicopters are actually flying through these real locations. And then they just played that video back on the screens. Yeah. You don't need to have any sort of motion capture system because it's just far enough away that the parallax you get is gonna work. This is closer to what they did for the movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise and also First Man, the Ryan Gosling Apollo 11 movie. I thought these shots were like a pretty good example of volume filmmaking, like done right. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, everybody always thinks about backgrounds when it comes to volumes, but really at the end of the day, it's like the value of the volume comes from the reflections and the lighting.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Like this shot, the big shiny metal guy. Like, who cares about the background? You can cut that out and replace that. But the lighting, that's so hard to get right unless you have the actual light around them.
Look, Niko is hungry for burrito, as you can see. I'm hungry for
I'm
additional
hungry.
content to react to, okay? Leave a comment down below if you got any clips we should look at. The way that Niko looks at that burrito.
And leave a comment down below to give me food.
Oh, we can do that?
Leave a comment down below for your favorite CG food in a movie.
Yeah, leave food down below.
You know, since we're looking at Fallout, we're looking at goopy monsters. Let me show you guys a goopy monster clip. This is a comment recommendation right here. All right, so this is In the Mouth of Madness.
Ugh, that's a wet foot.
Whoa, wait, is that stop motion? It had to be.
No, that was not stop motion.
Oh no, don't trip now.
That's it. That's it. That's all they show you. Let's get a pause in that crazy frame.
Yo,
Whoa.
That's crazy.
dude, they look like the creatures from the Star Wars chessboard.
Yeah. I can't believe they built this.
That-
did all the work, and then the editor was
Yes.
like, and director was like, all right, 2 in focus frames, please. That's all we need.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, look at the amount of prosthetics work that went on here. That soggy mummy in the back who's sitting on someone's shoulders, drooped. You don't even see him at all. He just, an entire soggy mummy built from scratch and just discarded. Look at it.
So those are guys in suits.
Yeah, this is actually a mechanism that takes 15 people to operate.
It's all one rig?
Kind of. So there's one giant rig, and there's 2 guys in suits in the foreground in front of it.
Okay.
And just like a whole bunch of like radio-controlled motors and people operating this whole thing.
Dude.
All for 2 frames of, jeez.
Wow.
Like, look how crazy this is.
Whoa, dude.
Dude, it's got friggin' pincers.
Look at that guy.
Ew, that's straight out of All Real Monsters. I've seen that before.
It's weird because like they go to these like close-up like insert shots, which are like they're okay, but like they feel very like movie prop. Whereas when they go to these like wide shots where you can't figure out what you're looking at, it's like so much more compelling.
Yeah, once you get in close on anything like this, you really miss when there's not the additional animatronics of facial animation. So when it is like a rubber mask that isn't moving, it is tough to hold up in the close-ups.
I do feel like they could have shown us at least a little bit more of this, though. All this work,
Dude.
all this this is what it feels like to be a VFX artist and have like your characters cut from the movie.
This is what it feels like to be a VFX artist on Morbius, dude. Hey guys, Niko's taking another quick burrito break, which is perfect time for you to subscribe. Go ahead, click that button, click that bell, and I guess just take your time. You know?
Dude, I'm so hungry.
No rush. I am so jealous. Well, speaking of monsters, but I also have a monster I'd like to bring to the table.
Oh, heck yeah.
The reality is I never bring old clips, all right? You guys always do that, and I'm always jealous. And I finally have an old clip I want to bring.
Oh, really?
Oh.
I do, and I'm very excited about it. It is from the 1954 Godzilla film,
Oh, the
where
original.
Godzilla attacks Tokyo.
Wow.
It's like the vibe is so good.
Some miniature stop motion stuff there.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to like guy in a suit, I think.
The different approaches.
Dude, the freaking like rotoscoping over the spine of the Zilla.
Yeah, bridge coming down.
The little like flashers for like electricity popping. These shots of
Oh,
guns.
whoa, that's a cool shot.
Yeah, dude, the atmosphere of it all. I mean, what do you think they did to like pull off some of these effects, you know?
So I think they're doing 2 different scales of miniature work. So, I mean, those are real guys in the foreground there. There's probably a rear projection type sitch.
Yeah.
Right there, this shot, that's stop motion. You can kind of tell because of the juddery nature of the motion.
The attention to detail and switching from stop motion to costume to full size, like that's where the magic really happens with a movie like this.
Very cool regardless. But I do have a confession to make. First of all, I just want to say, Taiyaki, we got him, baby. This was uploaded 3 weeks ago to YouTube and was made almost entirely in Blender.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
It's so good. It's
Wow.
so good.
Are you kidding me? Dude, you just ruined my credibility on visual effects artists react.
blowing Wren's mind over here.
No way, dude.
Yes.
There's no way.
Yes.
This is all CGI.
Taiyaki, bro, he's got under 6,000 subs and he just dropped this banger on his channel.
I was fully convinced that was made 80 years ago.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like when you aren't on guard looking for issues, it holds up so well.
The aesthetic shift, the subtle aesthetic shift to the stop motion was insane.
If you're approaching the challenge of trying to recreate stop motion in 3D, what do, right? Because in normal animations, you set a keyframe. Let's say my arm is here. Set a keyframe here, rotate my arm up, and a few frames later I have it here. Well, it will interpolate between those keyframes over time. So if you want to recreate stop motion, what approach do you take?
I would actually animate every single keyframe. Yeah, I wouldn't use any tweening whatsoever. I would pose every single piece for every single keyframe.
Exactly, that's what he did. He posed every single keyframe because in stop motion, one picture at a time, one pose per picture. He basically just matched the approach that you would take in the real world and did it in 3D instead. And the results speak for themselves. Like it holds up really, really well.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
And these, dude, this is my favorite
Those
comment
CG dudes? Those are CG dudes! I mean, those are real guys in the foreground there.
Dude, it's the zombie general from Mixamo.
No way!
He just used a bunch of War Zombie F. Pedrosos. What a legend.
Yeah, it was basically just that. They're literally just a silhouette.
The destruction was really, really good.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, head over to the bridge section, because this was the most clever approach of all the things that I saw. He didn't use any simulation approaches to any problem, but he actually built a bone structure into the bridge and animated the bones like you would a character's arm. He animated the end of an IK chain and bent the bridge over time. So instead of having to worry about a simulation where you're deforming metal, which is really quite challenging, he's just animating simple, like character bones. Even the giant chunk that falls off from the middle of the bridge is hand animated to fall and land.
This guy is very good at animating.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a great eye for motion, for physics, for making things sit in the world they sit in. Like, that is a true skill.
But the thing that pulls all of this together is the aesthetic of it is like a 1950s black and white film.
Yes.
He nailed that old film look. So that's the other thing, is that like, it allows him to not have to go extremely photoreal with the rendering because he's gonna stylize it all after the fact anyway.
Yeah. And
Look how degraded that looks.
dude, the fire, there you go. You got like that fast flickering flame.
It's completely blown out. This is the most wonderful surprise I feel like I've ever experienced sitting on this couch. It's one thing to have like technical prowess as a kid, being able to learn Blender and get really good with it, but it's another to actually have skill with style.
Yes,
you
it's
know,
so true,
like
it's so true.
I'm honestly just very impressed.
Yeah. It's so funny, you know, we look at so many like AAA titles on this show, but oftentimes uploads to YouTube, like Blender animation stuff, are so much more inspiring to me to watch. Because it's like, this is one guy in his room who just recreated this scene so beautifully and then just dropped it on YouTube. And it's getting a lot of love, and it deserves all the love that it gets, truly, because it's very, very well done.